Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Apti Plus. Please welcome our guest today, who is Mr. Shushil Kumar Singh, sir, who is in Deputy Director, Indian Information Services, 2018 batch. Sir will be guiding you and will be providing you insights on the last minute high yield topics for UPSC Prelims 2025. Sir, handing over the session to you. Please guide our students.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone. So this is the last few months and last few days when everyone is tensed about what to prepare, what strategy to follow. So on this Apti Plus platform, we all have gathered, and I'll try to guide you about the strategy, about the planning, and how to best utilize these last 45 or so days. Okay, so the lecture will be having two parts. The first will be me telling you the strategy, and then we will take the question and answers. In the strategy part, I'll try to divide it into two parts. First is the general strategy, time management, and so on, the preparation part of it. And the second part will be about what topics you should focus on in the last few days. Although everything is important, but there are certain high yielding topics, high yielding in the sense which are repeated often, which they have a pattern to it. Every subject has certain topics, certain type of questions which are repeated. So if you follow those questions, if you follow the strategy, then you can maximize your score. So we will try to have you know a discussion on them and this general strategy also. So as you can see, uh, the time is very short now. So even if you are tempted to prepare for mains, for optional, for essay, do not do that. Now commit fully to the prelims preparation in these last days. This is the first thing you all should do, that commit fully for the last 45 days or so to the prelims. Because what happened, if you are preparing for mains, if you are preparing your optional, and you are thinking that I have prepared this when I started coaching, or few months back, that will not give you best results, because there are things which which you should revise in the last few days. That is why it is important that you focus solely on prelims in these last days. Okay, now your preparation should have two parts. When you are taking any subject, any topic, it should have two parts. First is your revision part, and second is your mock test part. So in the revision part, जब भी आप रिवीजन कर रहे हैं, so what sources you have to follow? No new sources. This should be your mantra. No new sources in the last 2 months or 45 days. This should be imprinted in your mind, that you will not pick any new sources. So only thing which you will revise is your class notes or the books which you have already followed. Because Apti Plus has really professional teachers, and their notes, if you are following, then you can continue following them. And if you are following any book which might have been recommended by the teachers or otherwise, then you have to follow them. Very very important thing, that don't pick any new source. कोई कुछ भी बोले, कोई टॉपर कुछ भी बोले, कोई कुछ भी बोले, कोई बुक नहीं उठानी है. ठीक है. Now about the test part, mock test. You have to prepare a subject, and you have to give the test for that mock test. It may be of Apti Plus, or if you want to attempt more tests, you can buy any this thing from market. But I'll say that use the Apti Plus test series if available, right? And if you're already giving that, that will be highly beneficial for you. So commit 70% of the time for revision and 30% of the time for mock test and its analysis. So again, analysis part of the paper is very important, and it is as important as giving the mock test and revision. Why? Because if you are not analyzing where are you making mistakes, आप गलतियां कहाँ कर रहे हो, किस तरह की गलतियां कर रहे हो, क्यों कर रहे हो, then it is very you know not beneficial to keep on adding new content to your sources, and just uh, adding information and everything. unless you know how to use that information to solve a question, then only it will yield you marks. At the end we all need marks चाहिए हमें end में, तभी selection होगा. Otherwise keep on adding, keep on learning new things, then it will not be beneficial, right? So this is the important thing, that you commit 70% of your time for revision and at least 30% for mock test and its analysis also. So analysis is very important, and how you can analyze your paper, we will discuss that in detail, but this should be your mantra. Now, UPSC Prelims has two parts, two papers. First is General Studies. I think most of us dedicate around 80 and 90, even 95% of our time to GS1, but we ignore GS2, that is CSAT paper. But I have seen many of my friends, even many of my colleagues have failed this exam, and despite scoring very good, above 120, 130, they were not able to solve the CSAT and clear its cutoff. So, what should be the strategy for CSAT? It is, I personally feel that you should focus on solving previous year questions and see if you are able to solve the basic maths question or not. तो बहुत सारे लोग पूछते हैं कि कॉम्प्रिहेंशन पहले करना है या मैथ्स का पार्ट पहले करना है, इसके लिए तैयारी कैसे करें. तो सबसे आसान तरीका है कि आप कुछ पेपर्स, एटलीस्ट 5 पेपर्स यू शुड अटेम्प्ट बिफोर गोइंग टू एग्ज़ाम, राइट. अगर आप 5 पेपर पहले अटेम्प्ट करके जाएंगे एंड यू देन यू विल बी easily able to make the cut off. Okay, also remember that the negative marking is a little high in this, which is around 2.5 marks, so that adds a little bit, uh, makes it a little bit tricky. And if you are not able to solve them by formulae or something, you should be able to use methods like unitary method, basic assumption method. ठीक है, तो वो सारी चीज़ें आप अगर एक बार प्रैक्टिस करके जाएंगे, तो आप जो है सी सेट पेपर विल नॉट बी एन इशू फॉर यू. एंड माई सजेशन विल बी फोकस ऑन द मैथ्स पार्ट, बिकॉज comprehension part is little tricky. But again, this is like each one of you may have your own choice, but my suggestion is focus on the maths part, because that is sure shot. Okay, even if you are doing 25 questions and answer is coming, then you are getting marks for that. In comprehension, there are little doubts whether this option is correct, this option is correct, because even after paper is complete and many coaching institutes give their answers, so they vary in the comprehension part. But for maths part it is very easy, and maths part is sure short, so focus on this thing. So for CSAT I think it should not be a problem if you follow this strategy of having 5 or 6 mock papers and attempting the maths side first. Okay, now let us see that this is the subject wise weightage for GS. So why it is important to know this? It is because don't focus on unnecessary things, right? Unnecessary in the sense current affairs is a huge ocean, right? आप कितना भी पढ़ लो, उसमें बहुत सारे हज़ारों सोर्सेज हैं, हज़ारों बुकलेट्स हैं, सब कुछ है, बट कभी ये कंप्लीट नहीं होगा. एक टॉपिक है, उस पर आप पीएचडी भी कर सकते हो एंड यू कैन नो अबाउट इट ऑल्सो. So this is important to know that which subjects are being asked and what is being asked from them. क्या पूछा जा रहा है और किससे पूछा जा रहा है, राइट. ये देखने में बहुत आसान लगता है कि अच्छा 6 सब्जेक्ट हैं, सबसे हम पढ़ रहे हैं करंट अफेयर्स, बट होता क्या है कि इन द एंड स्पेशली दिस टाइम वी टेंड टू गिव मोर टाइम टू द करंट अफेयर्स. आप 3 घंटे न्यूज़पेपर को देते हो, 2 घंटे बुकलेट को देते हो, फिर उसके बाद जो मेन सब्जेक्ट्स हैं उसके लिए टाइम नहीं बचता है. बट दिस शुड नॉट बी द strategy at this time, right? So if we see that around 84 questions are asked from the static part and just 16 are from current affairs. So let's say even if 20 questions are from current affairs, then also you have 80 questions from the static part which you can learn, which you can understand, and which you can prepare easily. And if you give proportionate time to this, you will be able to ace the exam. And if you give disproportionate time to current affairs thinking that you can read multiple sources and you will master them, you will never be able to master that, right? Because there are so many sources, so many international websites, so many magazines are there. Your primary focus, that which portions you have to focus. So we will be focusing in the next few slides on the topics and on the subjects which you have to focus, right, to ace this exam. Although you cannot ignore any of them, but there can be slightly more time to certain topics and certain uh, subjects, right? So this is the observations which we can deduct from last few exams, that polity, economy, and environment are consistent, and there are all type of questions being asked from them, and they constitute the majority of the questions, right? What it means is that if you master polity, economy, and environment, half of your paper is done. So this is just three subjects and half of your exam, and the type of questions which are being asked from them are very, objective, very certain, that if you know it, you can answer them, and you can know them by reading the basic sources. आप अपने नोट्स से, आप जो बेसिक बुक्स हैं उनसे इन क्वेश्चंस को आप आंसर कर सकते हो. दैट इज वाई their importance increase even more. Why? Because they can be answered from the basic source which you are following, like your notes, like the books, like the test series. If we compare that with current affairs, in current affairs, as I said, the questions will be there, but you don't know the source. You cannot prepare for them in such a way as you can prepare for polity, economy, and environment. Although these are huge number of questions, but you can prepare better for polity, economy, and environment. So even if you dedicate your time to current affairs, you are not sure whether you will be able to answer. But if you prepare polity, environment, you're sure that you will be able to answer. Now history, geography, and science tech lie somewhere in the middle. That history, okay, I can prepare, but then I may not be able to answer few questions, and that is fine. So the point is that you should be able to answer what others are able to answer, okay? And if you are able to answer them, and if you are able to, recall them in the paper, then you will be over the line. Similarly with geography, we may not know the all the places which are being asked, but we may know that certain type of questions like climate questions, okay, vegetation, all those things we can master, and that should be your focus. Similarly in science tech also, we will discuss in detail in the latest slides, but this is the broad spectrum which you have to follow and which you have to abide by, okay? Now let's see topic wise, the subject wise, and what should be the focus area. So first is history and culture. So history and culture, as we can see, there are always around 14 to 17, 18 questions are there from history, right? Which means that there are ample amount of questions, and this is the, what, a subject which we say that it is also endless. But if you see, there is a pattern to it. There are certain topics which is always asked, और उनका एक तरीका है. तो इसमें what you have to focus is first on the timelines. टाइमलाइंस आपको पता होनी चाहिए कि खिलजी कब आया, गौरीज कब आए, और उसके बाद एनसीएम कब हुआ, क्विट इंडिया कब हुआ, व्हेन गांधी केम, व्हेन वाज द सोशल रिलीजियस मूवमेंट, सूफिज्म कब आया. सो एक टाइमलाइन पता होनी चाहिए आपको, बिकॉज देयर विल बी मैनी क्वेश्चंस जहाँ पे आप टाइमलाइन अगर आपको पता है तो यू विल बी एबल टू एलिमिनेट सम ऑफ द ऑप्शंस, राइट? एंड इफ यू आर एबल टू डू दैट इवन इन टू क्वेश्चंस, इट मीन्स +4, राइट? So that will make your task very easy. Sometimes they ask themselves कि ये from the cultural part especially, that this is the uh, religious movement, this is the, Sufism, which saint came when. So all those things, if you know the timelines, you can answer. So first important thing is timeline. Then obviously Buddhism, Jainism, Bhakti movement, Sufism, all these things should be uh, remembered, and all those things should be known in most perfect manner, right? What I mean is that if you are reading Buddhism, then you should know what are the different sects. और ये questions पहले भी आ चुके हैं. All these question has been asked. So if you analyze the previous year papers and if you do your test series, then focus on this part. Okay, if you are seeing that Buddhism, which of the following is not a sect of Buddhism, what are the remaining three sects? Okay, तो उसको भी आपको देखना है, ये किस से बिलोंग करते हैं, क्या है उसके बारे में एक लाइन आपको पता होनी चाहिए, जो भी टर्म्स आ रहे हैं उसमें. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जांपल मैत्रेय, वंस मैत्रेय वाज आस्क्ड, so it was simple term. If you have read it, then you will be able to answer it. And these are the type of things you should focus in the Sufism, Bhaktism. Similarly for saints, what is the philosophy of that movement? Okay, which god they are, which god they are praying to? Okay, are they praying to nature, are they praying to human form of god? So basic concept should be clear कि ये इस इस मूवमेंट का, इस रिलीजन का बेसिक्स क्या है, राइट? वो आपको पता होना चाहिए. देन आर्किटेक्चर एंड आर्ट एंड लिटरेचर, अगेन टाइमलाइन शुड बी रिमेंबर्ड. देन द फॉर्म, किसने बनवाया, क्या बनवाया, वो ज़रूरी है, किस टाइम पे बना, अगेन दैट विल बी इम्पोर्टेंट. आर्किटेक्चर में बेसिक डिफरेंस पता होना चाहिए. ओके, दैट व्हाट आर द बेसिक फैसेट्स ऑफ इट, सेलिएंट फीचर्स क्या हैं इस आर्किटेक्चर की. विजयनगरा एम्पायर का जो आर्किटेक्चर है, उसके अगर मैं आपसे 10 बेसिक फीचर्स पूछता हूँ जो होते हैं, यू शुड बी एबल टू आंसर दैट. इफ़ यू आर नॉट एबल टू आंसर दैट, देन फोकस ऑन दैट थिंग, दैट ओके दिस इज़ द. आपको बड़ा बड़ा जो बातें हैं वो तो सब पता होंगी कि ओके दिस हैपेंड, बट if you are not able to recall the basic 10 features, then you will not be able to solve the question related to that. Okay, because they will ask like this only. Then again, Indus Valley civilization, Vedic period, Maurya and Gupta empires, again very important, right? In medieval India, focus on Mughals, that is good, but also on the, you know, uh, also on the aspect that they were rulers which, and they inspired many religions, they inspired architecture in India. And even today it, the Mughal rule influences Indian art, architecture and Indian culture. So focus on that part also, right? So try to think in those terms, then you will be able to correlate, you will be able to remember, and you will be able to better analyze the options in exam. In modern India, the first thing which most of us don't do is the governor generals and the viceroys. Those are two things which we all should know, that किसके टाइम पे what all changes came during which Mughal, which viceroy and which governor general. Okay, if I say Indian Post Act, so during which governor general it came, who was the governor general at that time, right? So again, these timelines and these things should be clear to you, only then you will be able to answer. Then similarly for India, that कांग्रेस के जो भी सेशंस हुए, हु वाज द प्रेसिडेंट एंड हु वाज द पायनियर इन देम. सोशल जितने भी रिलीजियस मूवमेंट हुए उस टाइम पर, हु वर द लीडर्स. ओके, टाइमलाइन ऑफ द वेरियस struggles. Okay, like non cooperation, quit India, individual satyagrah, what were the salient features about them. Okay, so overall you should be aware about them. Then only you will see even in your mocks, when you are attempting question, unless you know the basics, you know the basic philosophy, the timelines, you are not able to answer the questions, right? So for history it is important to remember the timelines, the basic terms, that okay what are the basic term and the basic philosophy of everything. Even if it is architecture, even if it is any religious movement, any civilization, what was going on at that time, you should be able to think. Gandhian ideology is again very important. Okay, so again Gandhian ideology, if you see the questions asked in the past, it is not very factual, but yes, you should be able to know the basic. If you know the basic of these, then you are able to answer them. So history, dedicate time, but don't run after the again. this is important, that don't run after every term you see in every mock test, because there are so many terms, there are so many instruments, there are so many art forms. Don't run behind them, okay? Just know what everyone knows at least, and if you are able to top it up, then it is fine. Otherwise, don't worry, okay? Even if you know the basics in history, you will be through this exam. No one can stop you. Just know the basics and don't run behind every topic, every small word which comes. There are so many words, there are so many art forms, so many uh, you know literature, and you cannot master everything, but yes, you have to know the basics part. Now if we see polity and governance, again very important. So most of you must be following a book or notes. Stick to that. Don't run here and there. इसमें आपको बेसिक बुक्स पढ़नी है, जो भी आपने पढ़ा है वही उसी को रिवाइज करते रहना है. द इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इन दिस विच यू हैव टू फॉलो इज़ फर्स्ट पार्लियामेंट. पार्लियामेंट से रिलेटेड जैसे बिल्स कैसे पास होते हैं, व्हाट इज़ अ प्राइवेट मेंबर्स बिल, एडजॉर्नमेंट, साइन डाई में डिफरेंस क्या है. आपको ये जब तक ये बेसिक चीज़ें पता होनी चाहिए, जो भी लिखा है उसमें वो पता होना चाहिए, देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू आंसर. दिस इज़ द फैक्चुअल पार्ट, राइट? अगर आपको पार्लियामेंट, इफ़ यू आर रीडिंग पार्लियामेंट एंड इफ़ यू डोंट नो that what happens when Rajya Sabha is dissolved to the bills, then you are not reading it, right? So all those parliamentary procedures should be really 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 important, and you should know them. Then the again important topic is fundamental rights. So fundamental rights are important because not only just the rights, but the philosophy behind them, okay? If you see, there are many questions which are asked about them. What are they fundamental to constitution or not, or so many things are there around them. Are can they be amended? So all those things should be known at the time of the exam. कि हम इनको amend कर सकते हैं, नहीं कर सकते हैं, बेसिक उसके ये पार्ट हैं या नहीं हैं, राइट? सिंपल डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल यू शुड नो दैट ये लिखा हुआ है, ये थोड़ा फैक्चुअल है. दीज आर लिटिल फैक्चुअल एंड यू शुड बी एबल टू रिकॉल देम इन द एग्जाम. सिमिलरली विद फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज, ये दो टॉपिक ऐसे हैं जो आप बार बार पढ़ोगे, यू विल बी एबल टू रिकॉल, और आपको रिकॉल करने पड़ेंगे. इसमें आपको कुछ देयर इज नो एस्केप फ्रॉम दिस. बट फंडामेंटल राइट इज समथिंग विच इवन इफ यू डोंट remember it word by word, you can answer the question if you know the basic philosophy behind it, that ये right क्यों आया, who all are covered under it, minority rights कौन से हैं, कौन इसका part है, right? All those things. amendment process Amendment process is very important, especially in the light of several important bills which are being presented these days. कौन से bills हैं जो स्टेट्स पर जाते हैं, स्टेट्स में व्हाट इज़ द मेजॉरिटी विच इज़ रिक्वायर्ड, राइट? सो ऑल दोज थिंग्स शुड बी known to you. In president, governor, judiciary, and all those bodies uh, focus on two things. First is their composition, because composition of these bodies is always in news, right? अगर आप देखो इलेक्शन कमीशन का कंपोजिशन अभी न्यूज़ में था, देन सुप्रीम कोर्ट का अगेन, राइट, कैग, यूपीएससी, और कंपोजिशन ऑफ दीज बॉडीज इज ऑलवेज इन न्यूज़. सो फोकस ऑन दैट पार्ट, राइट? द सेकेंड इज देयर फंक्शन, कि उसको पावर्स क्या क्या हैं. कैन what is the power of election commission, what is the power given to supreme court, right? What are the powers given to cag? So इनके functions and composition ये आप focus करिए. इसमें the main issue comes is that उनकी age होती है, term होती है, ठीक है? Try to remember it, and you will be able to remember it if you uh, revise it too many times. But don't be worried even if you are not able to remember it, okay? अगर आपको नहीं याद होता है तो भी कोई इसमें इशू नहीं है. यू डोंट बी वरीड दैट मुझे ये नहीं याद हो रहा तो मुझे टॉपिक समझ में नहीं आ रहा. इफ़ यू नो द कंपोजिशन एंड द पावर्स, you will be able to do the question. Sometimes it happens that they ask the terms and this thing, but those are very general things, okay? You can try to remember them, and if you revise it enough, then you will be able to do that. You can make short notes or some, some way to remember them. Apart from that, I think polity and governance don't focus for prelims on too much on the current affairs part. Okay, for example, work amendment and all those things. Just revise the basic part, the static part more and more, and then you will be able to answer most of the questions. So this is important because this can give you maximum return. अगर इसमें से 25 क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, यू कैन इजीली गो फॉर 22, राइट? बाकी चीज़ों बाकी सब्जेक्ट्स में ऐसा इट इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल दैट यू कैन आंसर विद सो मच एक्यूरेसी, बट दिस इट इज़ पॉसिबल इन दिस, राइट? So focus on that part, and there's nothing more to tell in polity and governance. We will take the questions, but yeah, this is the main thing. Also focus on the basic terms like liberty, fraternity. The meaning should be clear. What does it mean in actual? प्रियम्बल में जितने भी टर्म्स हैं उनका मीनिंग पता होना चाहिए कि इसका मतलब है क्या असली में। डेमोक्रेसी का मतलब क्या होता है? व्हाट डज डेमोक्रेसी मीन्स? ओके, एंड what does liberty means, what does fraternity means? There are questions which have been asked in the past and they will continue to ask these questions, so focus on that. Okay, now economy is important because they ask too many questions, and also because there is a set pattern which you can follow, then you will be able to. They are very easy questions as such. If you understand the subject, they are very easy. So there are generally three type of questions which they ask. Okay, first is the terms. They will ask about the terms like repo rate, reverse repo rate, and or fiscal deficit, revenue deficit. Okay, all these things it should be crystal clear. इसमें कोई doubt नहीं होना चाहिए कि क्या है. Advances, right? So there was a exam, there was a time when they asked advances. एडवांसेस बहुत सारे लोग गलत करके आए. दे डोंट नो एडवांसेस मीन्स लोन्स, राइट? सो इफ़ यू आर नॉट एबल टू डिसाइफर सच टर्म्स, देन इट इज़ वेरी बैड सिचुएशन. सो फोकस ऑन द बेसिक टर्म्स. आपको बेसिक चीज़ों को बहुत अच्छे से करना है. जो भी टर्म्स हैं उसका मतलब पता होना चाहिए कि हाउ डज इट रियली प्ले आउट. रेपो रेट का मतलब क्या है, कौन किसको लोन देता है, उस पर क्या इंटरेस्ट लगता है, कैसे होता है वो रेपो रेट वगैरह आपको पता होना चाहिए. सेकंड इज द ट्रेंड्स अबाउट जीडीपी, अबाउट इन्फ्लेशन, अबाउट wholesale price. Okay, so all those trends, whatever trends can be there in an economy, the important ones, make a list of them. See their graphs कि क्या ट्रेंड रहे हैं पिछले एटलीस्ट 5 to 10 years में, वो आपको पता होना चाहिए. सो देयर आर क्वेश्चंस लाइक द जीडीपी इज कंटिन्यूसली राइजिंग, द इन्फ्लेशन इज कंटिन्यूसली राइजिंग, it is continuously decreasing. So those type of questions you will be able to answer only when you know the trends. So trends आपको पता होना चाहिए कि क्या है. पॉवर्टी का ट्रेंड, सो पॉवर्टी एलिवेशन में मतलब हमने क्या ट्रेंड देखा जा रहा है. अगर हम कह रहे हैं कि हमने बहुत सारे लोगों को बाहर निकाल दिया, तो व्हाट इज़ द ट्रेंड फॉर दैट, राइट? सिमिलरली फॉर जीएसटी कलेक्शन क्या ट्रेंड है, फिजिकल डेफिसिट का क्या ट्रेंड है. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स, एक्सपोर्ट्स का क्या ट्रेंड है, राइट? कौन सी चीज़ हम सबसे ज़्यादा एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, स्पेशली इन द लाइट ऑफ द टैरिफ्स. इफ़ यू सी, इफ़ यू डोंट नो व्हाट इंडिया इज एक्सपोर्टिंग टू विच कंट्री, देन इट इज़ द मोस्ट प्रोबेबल क्वेश्चन विच कैन बी आस्क्ड. ऑटोमोबाइल्स इज इन यूज़. तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि कौन सी कंट्री को हम सबसे ज़्यादा भेजते हैं, कौन सी कंट्री से सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्ट होते हैं, राइट? सो ऑल दोस ट्रेंड शुड बी देयर. Third type of question which is asked in economy is cause and effect. Okay, for example, if you see tariffs, अगर tariffs लगाए जा रहे हैं, so what will be the impact of it on inflation? First, it is very obvious, on the value of rupee. So these type of questions you should be able to answer. ये रेपो रेट अगर बढ़ रहा है तो इन्फ्लेशन का क्या होगा, राइट? दिस शुड यू शुड बी एबल टू आंसर इट. अगर फिजिकल डेफिसिट हम बढ़ा रहे हैं, and can we say xyz thing, they may say that if fiscal deficit is increasing, it means that India's debt is increasing. Okay, so you should be able to answer that. So things like that. So focus on terms, whatever terms are there, basic terms. जैसे ओपन मार्केट ऑपरेशंस क्या है, देयर आर मेनी टर्म्स विच कम्स इन न्यूज़ ऑल्सो, सो फोकस ऑन दैट. देन ट्रेंड्स, क्या ट्रेंड्स हैं इन सबके, जीडीपी, इन्फ्लेशन, एट्सेट्रा एट्सेट्रा. then third is cause and effect. So cause and effect questions are there which you can analyze and which you should know, and जो आप वो तभी सॉल्व कर पाओगे जब आपको टर्म्स पता होंगी और उनका बेसिक मतलब आपको पता होगा. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, यस, स्कीम्स, एमएसपी, एग्रीकल्चर रिलेटेड टर्म्स, मेक इन इंडिया, what are the schemes which are going on, right? For example, PLI schemes, semiconductors, everything, you should know about them also, which you must be reading. और अगर आपने पूरे साल पढ़ाई की है, then you will be able to answer them, right? But in the last few days, focus on these terms, and in the mock also you can see that if you are able to answer these questions or not, right? Then geography, as I told, is a very tricky part. Tricky part in the sense that there may be questions related to places, but the good part is there is a pattern to that also. For example, if there is a question about rivers, you should focus on the states. If it is passing through any other national park, uh, any other important primary or secondary feature, right? If there is a pass, you should know in which mountain range it is. So UPSC generally ask these questions, and it includes two landforms in it. Okay, वो दो लैंडफॉर्म्स को मिला के एक क्वेश्चन पूछता है. इट विल नॉट आस्क यू कि गंगा रिवर के बारे की ट्रिब्यूटरीज कौन सी हैं. इट विल आस्क कि गंगा पासिस थ्रू XYZ नेशनल पार्क, सो यू शुड नो इट. तो वो तभी पता चलेगा जब आप उसको ड्रॉ करोगे, आप उसको नेशनल पार्क की आपको लोकेशन पता होगी. एंड डोंट वरी दैट यू हैव टू नो इट बिल्कुल एग्जैक्ट. even if you know the approximate location of the national park, and if you know uh, you know the location of the river, then you will be able to answer that question. Similarly for lakes, similarly for mountain ranges, passes, and everything, right? So focus on those things. If you are reading geography, then try to focus on that thing. अगेन डोंट रन बिहाइंड इट कि हर नदी को हम देख लें कि कौन से नेशनल पार्क से पास हो रही है. डोंट रन बिहाइंड इट, बट इफ़ यू आर स्टडिंग इट and if you come across it, then try to remember it. The second important thing in geography is world geography and the climate patterns. ठीक है, जो भी क्लाइमेट पैटर्न्स हैं वो आपको पता होने चाहिए. द ट्रेड विंड्स का डायरेक्शन, ट्रेड विंड्स क्यों चलती हैं, द रीज़न फॉर दैट, ओशन करेंट्स. सो बेसिक बेसिक रीज़न के साथ आपको पता होना चाहिए. ठीक है, if we say that cyclones are formed in more cyclones are formed in this sea rather than that sea, then why it is so? So you should know the reason for that. Okay, first you should know that yes, it is true. Then what is the reason for that? Then only you will be able to answer that. So focus on those parts, and don't go behind in geography for the all the places. There may be thousands of places which were in the news, but don't go behind them. That is a time waste. Okay, so focus on these basic parts. Again, water resources, for example, so you should know that how much percentage of water is in oceans, how much is in fresh water, and all those things. River systems, I told you. Urbanization patterns is again important part. Okay, you should know how much percentage of urban population is living in cities, in class 1 cities, in class 2 cities. Then only it will make sense. Soil types, resources, you should know the basic areas and some of the cities where they are formed. Okay, for example, iron, what is the type of iron ores. Similarly for coal, how much coal does India have. Okay, what is the which mine has the highest production. So all those things you should be able to know, because India recently surpassed its previous best, and I think 100 million tons they have taken out. So you should be focusing on those things. And in geography, okay, you can skip these geographical thoughts or these type of things to focus, but yes, these things, then again the one more important thing is that you should be able to answer the type of ecosystems. Okay, if there is a if there is a features given, then you should be able to tell which type of ecosystem is this. For example, if I say that the climate is hot and humid and there is a rain every day at 4 p.m., so which type of climate it is. Okay, then you should be able to identify the regions, because generally they ask these questions every year. Then general science, I think in general science, if you have not read it, then you can avoid it, and if you have read it, then you can revise it and you will be able to answer the questions. Focus on the science and technology part. Science and technology, why? Because it it includes all the basic terms also, and it includes the general science part also. So what is important in this is the new terms which are coming. Okay, for example, stem cell, genetic engineering, so there are new terms which are coming. This is the list, and we have provided the list at the end of the slide also, and also the application part of it. So there are two types of questions in science and tech. First is the term, वो term है क्या, वो technology क्या है, what is the use of that technology basically. So basically, if you see that recently Starship went and came back, so what is the technology behind it, you should be able to answer that. And also, what is the use of that, what will it lead to, will it reduce the cost of planetary missions? Yes. So uska application kya hai, uska term ka basic matlab kya hai, and also what is the benefits which will come through that. So applications, this, as you see, nanotechnology, its application. So whatever new technology you see, try to think in terms of what are the application, what will be the benefits, and is there any term related to that which we can use. For example, in nuclear technology, you must have heard about small modular reactors. Okay, this was in the budget. So small modular reactors, तो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि इसका यूज़ क्या है, what is the technology behind it, and what will it lead to, और इसके cons क्या हैं, pros and cons. So that is the basic part of it. Similarly for energy storage systems, energy storage के लिए क्या है. Similarly, for FGD, there is a term which is going on in news these days, FGD, which means flue gas desulfuration. So जो भी पावर प्लांट से emissions होते हैं, उसको उसमें सल्फर का कंटेंट को कम करने के लिए FGD लगाया जाता है. तो उसका यूज़ क्या है, what are the norms for environment ministries norms for it, and why it is in news. So application part of it should be known to you in science and technology. So just focus on the current affairs part of it, the terms, the applications, and what are the benefits and what are the negative of that technology. Then only you will be able to answer those questions. Environment, so there are two parts. First is the basic parts, which are the terms. So terms should be clear. What is ecological pyramids, what is desertification, so the technical definition, focus on that. Okay, there is a term called desertification. अब desertification का मतलब क्या है, right? वो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि उसमें if there is a percentage of the area, or if there is a, it is related to rains, or it is related to you know लैंड पैरामीटर्स, तो ये किससे रिलेटेड है. सिमिलरली फॉर कोस्टल इरोजन एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स शुड बी क्लियर, द टर्म का मतलब पता होना चाहिए बेसिक. सो फोकस ऑन दैट. द सेकेंड पार्ट इज इंडिया, what are the commitments which India has made, okay, in at the international forums. So and what is our achievements in that, because we are doing very good. Okay, so solar, then coal, then forest. What are the commitments India has made, and all those international forums, and is India part of those agreements? What are the agreements India is part of, India is bound by? Okay, so focus on those agreements, those aspects of environment and ecology. The important thing and the last thing which I'll be telling you is that don't run behind Ramsar sites, behind national parks. There are so many and they will keep on adding. Just know the latest ones, उनको पता कर लो. बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व्स यू शुड बी एबल टू रिकॉल, यू शुड नो विच स्टेट, कौन से स्टेट में है क्या है, उसको एक बार मार्क करके देख लीजिए. but don't run behind Ramsar sites, behind so many things, tiger reserves. आपको पता होना चाहिए if it is important, if it is in news, but don't run behind them. It will not disproportionate time देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है उसको, right? So these are the basic things which you should focus on each topic and the manner in which you have to study. सी इट इज़ रियली इम्पोर्टेंट. अभी हम सबको डर लगता है एंड में कि हमें वी मे नॉट बी एबल टू रिकॉल, वी डोंट नो दीज थिंग्स, बट येस इट इज़ इम्पोर्टेंट टू स्टडी इन द राइट मैनर एंड trying to maximize your यू नो यील्ड फ्रॉम योर कंटेंट. जो भी आपने पढ़ा है उसको मार्क्स में कैसे चेंज करना है वो इम्पोर्टेंट है. एंड वो तभी होगा जब आप इन चीज़ों को फॉलो करेंगे. व्हेन यू विल फॉलो द राइट वे टू स्टडी एंड द राइट वे टू अटेम्प्ट द क्वेश्चन, देन द राइट वे टू आंसर इट. And in international relations, this is I think the last slide, focus on the organizations, the agreements, also on the areas where conflict is going on. Okay, Israel, Gaza. So make a list of all the important places you see on the map in and around that. Okay, for example, the border countries, the rivers, any lake, okay, which oceans are there, उन सब पे आप फोकस करिए. देन ओनली बिकॉज देयर आर क्वेश्चंस एंड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रीजन्स जो होते हैं उनके नाम. So what happens many a time, there are names which are known like cultural names of that region. वो जरूर UPSC ask them, right? So for example Israel, uh, देन सीरिया, उनका एक उस पूरे एरिया को कुछ बोलते होंगे, राइट? तो उसका कल्चरल नेम, हिस्टोरिकल नेम, उस पर भी एक बार आप फोकस करिए एंड ट्राई टू फाइंड दोज 4-5 regions which are there in conflict. Then you will be able to answer some of those questions, right? Internal security and terrorism, for as of now you can ignore this for prelims. And similarly Indian philosophy, don't no need to learn it or prepare it separately. Just in the history part it will be covered. And these are the some of the topics which we have provided and which we have researched. You can just tick mark them and you can write also if you want something related to these things. These are the important current affairs topics for every subject. Okay, for example blue home and all these things. I think now we can move to the question and answer part. And if you have any question, just let us know. So we will be able to answer that. So is there any question? Anyone wants to ask anything? Yes, Ayush, solving papers will definitely help. And you should, as I said in the starting, you should dedicate at least 30% of your time to solve papers. And not only solve papers, but analyze them, right? Analysis, what does analysis means? You should read the solution part of it and where you are making the mistakes, okay? So focus on those parts. For instance, if you're doing any question related to medieval history and if you comes to know a fact, you can try to remember it. And if you want you can add that in your notes for the starting few days, for the starting few papers, especially in the sectional papers. And after that you can enrich your notes, and then it will help, it will really help. See, this is the important part, that solving papers will is not is not sufficient but is necessary sort of a thing. Okay, because it is necessary to check your knowledge, to have a framework before going in the exam, and to have a concentration for 2 hours. So not only give papers, but give papers with full concentration in exam like conditions, and try to analyze your marks. Okay, and solve good quality test series, and then this will be fine, this will be good. So definitely yes, it will help, and you should be able to dedicate 30%. How to train our minds for tackling the examination under pressure and give our best in the exam. As I said, mock test is the only solution for that. So whenever you are giving your mock test, give it in exam like conditions. Okay, 2 घंटे बैठिए, पेपर लीजिए, घड़ी लगाइए, एंड यू शुड not give it in like, what I have seen is that aspirants do is they take a question paper and they finish it in 1 hour. But this is not the case, right? You have to sit there for 2 hours. So sit there for 2 hours, just read it carefully, mark it, give your best. So if you do that for 20 or 30 papers in the next 45 days, then you will be through. This will not be an issue. Time management, tackling the examination under pressure, all these things will go. Because if you think that you are giving the main exam as in your mocks, then only this will happen. If you think this is just a mock and I have to just give it and finish it, and then switch to content part. Content you have read for almost a year or more than a year, so now stop running behind content. Okay, so now train your mind by giving mock tests, by analyzing them, and see where you are making mistakes. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be above average to clear this exam, and that should be your goal. Okay, because everyone is giving mock test, but no one, I think most of them are not giving in exam like conditions, and that will make a really, really, difference between you and them. So, whatever watch you are wearing in exam, wear that. Try to time your, paper. How, what strategy you will follow. If you are following the strategy of doing the paper at once and then again coming back, follow the same strategy. If you are following the strategy of eliminating, then follow that in here also, in here first in mock, try it in mock first, then you will, then it will not be an issue. Okay, uh, and don't run behind content too much. How much effort should we give in respect to the static portion of GK and current affairs before the last phase of, uh, as I said, current affairs and GK, don't give it disproportionate time, because it is an endless ocean, right? It is, there's no end to it. So focus on static part first, and then keep on revising whatever you have read till now. The current affair past, this thing, current affairs, just revise whatever you have read till now, and don't run behind more and more this thing. You can, I skip from now on. If you are reading newspaper, you can give little less time, just don't give too much time to newspaper now, and just revise whatever you have read, and just focus on the static part. So what will give you the maximum return? As I said, polity, economy, environment, these are the important things you should be knowing, and you should be revising again and again. Okay, that will give you the most number of correct answers, then most number of marks, and that will, it doesn't matter if you are taking 2 marks from polity or current affairs. For current affairs you have to read for 1 hour to get 2 marks, and for in polity you have to just read for 15 minutes. Let's say if we do it like this, then what is beneficial? Reading polity and reading the static portion. If you are fine with that, then you can give your time with current affairs. So, but static portion, then mock test, current affairs, this should be your strategy. Revise, just revise whatever you have read till now, don't run behind more and more, and reduce the time for newspaper in the last phase. How many questions should I try to attend? See, generally, I prefer and I suggest that you should keep it on a higher side. It should be more than 85. Okay, because if you attempt to few questions, then it may not give you the appropriate result. Okay, so try to keep it more than 85, and if you can, keep it more than that, then also it's good. What is this? The thing is that although there is no set formula to it that how many questions should one attend, but if you are able to eliminate, or if you are able to figure out that this is the wrong statement, this is the right statement, then you should go for it. Okay, it means that if you are able to uh, cut the two options, okay, then you should go for it, then you should try to attempt that question, because short questions only if you attempt, then it will not be able to give you marks which are required for clearing this exam. And study and focus more on important topics. Yes, surely you can, focus on politics and history. There is a booklet by Apti Plus, which is Apti Express. So they have really good compilation. And for prelims, I think all of you should take that and read that booklet, not only for politics and history, but for other subjects also. That will be very good. That will give you concise, material, and last minute, you don't have to run here and there. That booklet is fine, so you can follow that. Also, your class teachers must have given you notes, and if not, there are some basic books. If you're following them, just follow them. So don't, as I said, don't run behind new sources. Okay, just uh, take a compilation of the booklet like FT Express, or whatever source you are following, follow that source. That will be sufficient. And don't think that I don't know this and that topic. Just whatever just keep on revising that same thing with focus on understanding the basics, the strategy part of it. And how many questions should I attempt to cross the cutoff and be on the safe side of GS1 and GS2? See, as I said, the question should be more than 85 at least. Okay, in GS1 and in GS2, you can see if you are able to attempt 40-50 questions, especially the maths one. If you are doing first, then you should be clear on the both the exams, both the papers, GS1 and GS2. Because the thing is that if you attempt too little question, then this error will be there. Some questions you will get wrong, right? So if it is very difficult to get the perfect answers for, especially for GS1 and comprehension in paper 2. So that is why I suggest keep the questions, attempted question, on a little higher side, and then it will give you a scope for errors. Okay, so keep it above 85 in GS1 and around 45 to 50 in GS2. So 45 to 50, I mean math questions first and then the English part of it. From the tests we have given already, what point should we focus on? The solutions are lengthy and uh, during the exam. See, as I said, from the mock test if you have given and what you will give in these coming days, the focus should be on uh, taking new points. If you find them, if you find that this is not there in your नोट्स और इन द बुक्स यू हैव रिटन, सो आपको कैसे यूज़ करना है मॉक टेस्ट का. लेट्स से आई एम गिविंग द पॉलिटी टेस्ट, and if I find कि the point was already there in my notes and still I am doing it wrong, then you can ignore that, right? If there is a new information, then only it will make sense, and then either you can add that to your notes, okay, that okay, this is the information, or you can add them to a separate sheet of white paper, okay, and then you can revise it 2 or 3 times, but only take the information which you find is somehow relevant. Okay, that you have to decide. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई नए टर्म्स आ रहे हैं, 20 नए टर्म्स आ गए मेडिवल हिस्ट्री के पेपर में. बिकॉज सेक्शनल टेस्ट में होता क्या है कि बहुत सारे टर्म्स ऐसे ही डाल दिए जाते हैं जो हमें क्योंकि 100 क्वेश्चन बनाना सेक्शन मेडिवल हिस्ट्री से, यू नीड मोर एंड मोर टर्म्स. So that will be good if you are able to use those solutions to enrich your notes and to see what where is where you are lagging and where you should make more and more efforts. So जो topics या जो भी points आपके notes से already cover हैं वो आप गलत कर रहे हो, then focus on the note first. And if you find that this is a valuable point, this is a valuable thing, या फिर comprehensively कोई solution में कुछ दिया हुआ है, you can use note it down and a separate sheet or in your notes, whatever is feasible for you. but but discard your paper once you have done this. Discard your paper. Don't keep all the papers, all the mock solutions for in the end for revision, because that will not be possible. So use 2 3 sheets and complete that in them. Okay, what should I attend for, comprehension or math portion? I think you should attend math portion first, because maths will give you, you know, very good marks, because when you solve a question it is sure shot. But in comprehension you are not, never sure of it. And as I said, for the CSAT portion, even if you don't know the formula, even if you don't know how to do it, by basic maths like unitary method, by assuming a value, you can answer many questions. So even if it takes time, solve the math question first, because then you will be, you know, through the cutoff easily, because it will give you sure short marks. So first math portion, then comprehension part. How can we you recall every minute detail for longer time? As I said, first revision. First thing is revision. There is no alternate to revision. So reading the same source again and again. And second part is knowing the philosophy, the concept of it. For example, democracy, liberty. If you know the concept of it, then you will be able to recall in the last minute. Okay, minute details, yes, revision is required, but you will be able to uh, make it easy to remember, right? For example, if there is a war going on between Russia and Ukraine, you have to remember the surrounding countries. Then you should be able to see कि अच्छा ये country में क्यों invade किया, what is the reason behind it, what is the places that Russia is capturing, why it is capturing that. So that will help. What should be the my revision technique in last 45 days? Revision technique, as I said, 70% of your time should be to revision. Follow the same sources you are following all throughout the year. And the revision should be accompanied by mock tests. Also focus on the static part first, then current affairs which you are already reading, only focus on those. Don't run behind new sources, new current affairs. You can limit your time of the न्यूज़पेपर को जितना कम हो सके उतना टाइम दो. जो भी टर्म्स हैं बेसिक वगैरह वो ऑलरेडी कवर हो गई होती हैं पूरे साल में, तो उस पर फोकस करो. फोकस ऑन द हाई यील्डिंग टॉपिक्स. As I said, attend first comprehension or math portion. I think you should attempt math portion first, uh, because it will give you good marks. It will give you good returns on your time invested. And even if it takes time, don't worry. Whatever questions you do in maths, if answer is coming, that means it is right, right? So focus on the math part first, and then you can go for comprehension. In comprehension also, the in CSAT one more thing is there, you can skip many questions, right? So there is no shortage of questions. So don't be stuck on one question. अगर एक सवाल पे आप अटक रहे हो तो उसको छोड़ के आगे बढ़ो. In math, in comprehension both. अगर नहीं आ रहा है कॉम्प्रिहेंशन में कुछ, तो डोंट अटेम्प्ट इट अननेसेसरली, क्योंकि वो नेगेटिव ही मार्क्स देगा आपको, राइट? फोकस ऑन मैथ फर्स्ट एंड देन कॉम्प्रिहेंशन. एंड इफ यू डोंट नो एनी आंसर, स्किप दैट. देयर आर एम्पल क्वेश्चंस यू कैन सॉल्व फ्रॉम देम, राइट? So please tell what to do on the last day. On the last day, do nothing. Just sleep. Take proper sleep, and take some rest. Don't don't I say, don't be, the aspirant who is running behind content till the last day. अगर आप कंटेंट के पीछे भागते रहोगे लास्ट दिन तक, या सोचोगे कि लास्ट दिन मैं सब कुछ पढ़ लूँगा, तो वो नहीं हो पाएगा. एंड डोंट रन बिहाइंड इट. फॉर द लास्ट डे, जस्ट टेक रेस्ट, रिवाइज few things. For example, you can revise some dates if you want. If you have made some short notes from your preparation, you can use them. Just don't exert yourself. Take proper sleep and be confident about yourself, and you will be through the exam. Any other question? I think that's it. I've covered everything possible, and just you can see the Apti Express booklet, which is nice, which has covered everything in detail. Okay, and that will be good for the last minute revision. Thank you.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर द सेशन। आई होप एवरीवन फाइंड इट हेल्पफुल। आपने बहुत मदद की, हमारे स्टूडेंट्स की बहुत अच्छे से गाइड भी किया, एंड यू हैव
Thank you.
एड्रेस्ड ऑल द क्वेश्चंस एंड क्वेरीज ऑफ आवर स्टूडेंट्स। सो थैंक यू फॉर वैल्यूएबल टाइम एंड इनसाइट्स सर।
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.
थैंक
All
यू,
the best
थैंक यू,
for exam.